What's up, guys? We are here. Hope everybody's doing well. Let me see here. Just sat down. Need to import our little lady, and then we can begin working on all the things. But yeah, hope you guys are doing well. Glad to have you here for the morning stream. Whew. Grab this guy. We can get set up. Ugh, my arm that this is on has been acting a little bit weak. I need to adjust it, I think. But yes, let's grab our character here. And I can show you some of the stuff we've done since the last stream. Got a bunch of placeholders and all sorts of stuff in here. Alright. So, it's been a couple days since our last stream, so I've worked on this a little bit over the weekend when I could fit in some time. Mainly just yesterday. I had a few hours I could throw at this and just play around tweaking some stuff. But yeah, the face has seen a lot of changes. Let's zoom in here and take a look at what we've done. So if you guys remember from our last version here, we were playing around with the face, and mainly we were trying to figure out which direction we wanted to take it. Did we want to take it that more anime style? Did we want to kind of go a different route and try to get more towards realism? I think with the proportions and everything that we're going with right now, I think going towards the more closely we can align with that anime-like style, the better off we're gonna be here. So that's kind of the direction I took it. There's still some stuff I want to do in the face and clean up, obviously. Got some pretty crappy pinching going on right here, as you can see the pole right there, or the star, right in the middle of the nose. So I'll probably clean this up. But yeah, just kind of playing with some of the major forms, the nose, figuring out, you know, how detailed I want these ears to be. I tried to sharpen them up and stylize them quite a bit. These were a realistic ear at first. This isn't even the realistic ear. I had smoothed that one down. But yeah, trying to push that a little bit further there. Trying to find that balance. I threw in some quick hair up here, and I can show you how I did this. I essentially masked out this basic shape and then just sliced it into a few parts, and I did that with the intention of creating some really strong separations. So from here, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to split this into maybe like four different actual subtools. So like up here, this will be one subtool, and then this will be another, and then this will be another here. And the objective there is so that I can get a really sharp kind of just point there, and then I can go over and use a damn standard brush or something similar to cut in to these different areas. So playing around with that, we'll get to that more. Threw in some quick ponytail back there just so I can get an idea of what that's going to look like. I've merged a bunch of stuff together and adjusted some major shapes within the hips, if you can notice that. So I'm just trying to figure out, just trying to get that hourglass shape there, make that a little bit more succinct and clean. These are all merged now, so all of this geometry is together. The only thing that isn't merged is down here on the legs, and I simply inflated out around this edge to create the look as if she's wearing some stockings or something similar. I think I've shown you guys this concept, which is an older version of our concept that we're trying to get closer to. As you can see down here, we have something similar going on. So trying to get that idea just by doing a quick inflate there, and then we can play with, you know, making the feet more pronounced and some other stuff there too, to get closer to all that. But yeah, I've started blocking in some quick little stuff, some placeholder, little mechanical ears that are going to be on top of her head. This is for her wrists and her ankles, to create some cool separations there that you saw in that concept. And then a sash, and her hood, which I have blocked out, and a blocked out dress as well. And I can delete that. So just a quick blocked out dress that I threw on here. I've been trying to throw on transparency and be able to line that up. But yeah, we're going to continue working on all this stuff. I just wanted to show you guys a quick update so you could see what I've been doing to this character. So you know, you can see the transition and changes to the different things that I've done. Mainly, you know, a lot of stuff on the face, but some proportionally to the body, like I said, especially with our hips there. You can see some of those differences. But yeah, I'm going to keep playing with it, and if you guys got any questions or anything, let me know. But in the meantime, I'm going to find us a nice playlist to listen to. Let's go with ambient maybe. We'll try this. Alright, cool. Well, let's get started. Let's actually get sculpting. Setting up some images over on my other monitor. And we can jump in. As you can see, I've also merged in my neck down here to help transition that area as well. A little bit of the sternocleidomastoid muscle flowing up through there. So for this piece, I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to create these. I'll show you one here. So like this piece here, I tried to create this with poly loops last time and get this like really clean separation. By the way, this is not the final concept for those that are popping in here. This is an older concept that I'm reworking and is being reworked, and just keep that in mind. So not only that, even my final concept that I use isn't representative of what the final character is going to look at, because really I'm someone that works in 3D more, and I can't you know, it's my character for Art War, so for me it's something where I'm going to take it from the 2D concept and push it much farther, hopefully, and get it to a place where it's more appealing, and I like it a lot more. So we're trying to go for cute, unassuming, and dangerous for the evil side of the Art War challenge. So that's our goal here. So I guess now I want to attempt to create that little cut-in shape that's going to be around here. And like I said, I attempted to do this with poly loops previously, and I attempted to create some move around here, and then I would just bevel and, you know, Q-mesh it in, but it creates this really smooth transition, and I'm looking for a steep, sharp transition. So I've been thinking about how I need to capture that, and really, I'm not positive I know of a great way to do that. I've been thinking that maybe I could attempt to just do a cylinder with more subdivs, that might work, so that I can turn the edge more sharply. Really though, that or using the new deformer tool to create like a round shape is really all I can think of. But let's try this first, and we'll see how it goes, I guess. So a little bit of hard surface stuff here. First thing, Rohit, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you joining us. I'm glad to have the rest of you joining us as well. So, I could spend some time attempting to kind of, you know, line these up, try to manually do it as best as I can. And that'll probably serve for our purposes, but in truth, I want these to be positioned exactly in the same location. Just with more resolution around those edges. And I just thought that I might be able to get away with subdividing this once, deleting lower, and just get more resolution that way. Let's try that first, just because I think that's going to be easier, and I think it gives us the same number of edge loops around the edge here. So now I can see if I can turn that edge a little bit sharper. So I'm going to delete these edge loops. And essentially, I need this to happen evenly. And now, attempt to just get that to turn really sharp there. So I still get, you know, this little bit of a smooth transition, and I might be able to play with creasing some of the edges here to get that to be a little bit harder of a transition. I don't know though. So essentially the idea is that now I would bevel this edge, and then from there, you know, I would extrude. Well, before I extrude, let's crease this. So with ZModeler, if you do an extrusion, it will retain your creasing. So I'm just doing that so I have to do less creasing once I push this in. So you see how it stays creased? Yay, that's good. That's a good thing. But if I were to use QMesh, it would not retain that crease. So that's something I wanted to keep in there. So yeah, it's still, you know, this smooth transition, not very sharp. I could try to come in here. Really, the only way that I can think to do this without messing up the geometry of this too bad is the previous method that I was thinking, where I would create a subtraction around the outside and then use that to go in and make that change. So I just want to look at that really quick just to see if that's even going to happen the way that I think it is. So instead of extruding out, I'm just going to duplicate that piece, and I'm going to extrude this way this time. I'm gonna take everything else and delete it. So I just have this now. Now I can run a quick close holes operation on this, but it's not going to work the way we want. So you know, there's a few different options with bridging and a couple other things, but because I want some really clean geometry in here, I'm going to use the bridge functionality between two poly edges. And do it this way. Just because I want this as clean as possible so that I can try to get that really clean, sharp cut in on my mesh. We'll see if it works. I might have to separate some things. Really, I don't know. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to come onto the inside and, you know, do a quick little extrusion in. Maybe not quite that far. My mouse has drift on it, so my mouse freaks out. And my scroll wheel currently doesn't work, so I definitely need a new mouse. But let's try doing a crease edge loop here. And getting some really tight transitions. Just like that. And all you have to do, put it on negative and turn on live boolean. And I think that's going to be what we are looking for. So it comes around and gets that quick, sharp transition there. I can maybe uncrease these. I don't know. We can play with that. But at least now we have the harder cut happening on the inner edge there rather than the outer. So that's how I would create that shape. So from here, I can perform an actual Boolean operation and make that into a Boolean mesh. But I think what I'm going to do is just keep these grouped together, and then if I need to, you know, make any changes, any kind of changes at all, I can make those very easily without worrying about screwing anything up. Now, for the feet here, so that's the basic shape of the wrist device there. I'm thinking I'm gonna make these smaller probably, and I'm not a huge fan of the glow effect that we got going on right now, so we'll play with that. But yeah, let's try to do a similar tactic to create this kind of shape, and then some holes on the side. Maybe we can replicate some of that up top as well, since this one's a little bit more unique. And what's great about this is that I can, you know, reuse the geometry that I already have in place here. Turn this off, and I think the easiest way to do this is going to be duplicating our top piece and creating the geometrical changes on this mesh. So essentially, whoa. Essentially I want the edge to flow this way and then up and around that top edge, that top lip. We'll try something like that. And I might be able to mirror and weld this locally. Okay. Now, from here, you know, I'm going to do the same thing that I did here. I'm going to extrude out and then get rid of the extra polygons there. Not only that, but we want... Stupid Windows 10 keeps snapping. We also want this shape back here. Spychar, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Alright, so now we have two live boolean ops there we can flip between. I'd also like to get that cylindrical shape on the side. I made a quick brush the other day just to create a quick insert creased cylinder, and I don't have it anymore. If you guys don't know, if you use the insert multi-mesh brush, it inserts a cylinder with quite a few poly loops and edge loops, and it's just not very clean, and I want something very low poly like this to work with. So I need to think about how this is going to work in a negative sense. So I want it to have like this little beveled edge that it creates. So I need it to have a tight crease. And then bevel out. So poly loop, scale, and I'll even bevel this one more time here. It'll lose its crease, but then I can recrease it. And then take that. We'll insert it on our mesh, find a good place for it, line it up, turn on our negative live Boolean operation, and we'll find how we can line that up most appropriately. Set the pivot point. If you need help rotating around it, I like to do it here on the back, it's a little bit easier. Play around with that placement, and let's just get rid of this. Let's make this less deep before the bevel cut, and let's change our song. So from here, a thing that I could do that might be a more lucrative option for us is to take this mesh that we created and create an insert mesh. And what I would like to do is place it directly on this front-facing vertice. And push it into the appropriate level where I want it. And then I don't even need this one over here. Essentially what I'm going to do here is take this piece, use its rotation point, come over here, and then rotate around the cylinder, and I can place it wherever the hell I want, and it will be concentrically, you know, aligned with that geometry. So we can, you know, turn on negative and see exactly what that's going to look like, but it's going to be lined up essentially as perfect as we can get it. The only way that we could, we might be able to add some curve to this shape, and you could do that by adjusting the vertices manually or whatever you need to do, but we won't worry about that for our purposes right now, at least. I just want to find a good place for this to live. But yeah, that's how you can kind of align some stuff on some cylinders a little bit easier. Pen PCM, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Let's see here. I'm going to take this piece and duplicate it, grab our rotation point again, and just go 1, 2, 3, 4. And get that in the opposite side there. And if I merge these down, and of course, I can always, I'm not sure if mirror works with local sim. Looks like it does. If I want to get those on both sides, I can do something like that. Not sure if I want that though, so I'm just going to merge these together, and we'll keep them like that, and this piece as well, we'll merge these together. So now I have all of these pieces as a negative for our cylinder here, and this one as well, so I can just flip between these, and I have those different patterns ready to go. And I have all my creasing and everything else set up, so that's ready to go as well. If I want to get some more resolution in there, all I need to do is subdivide. And always turn off dynamic before you do any subdivisions, similar to what I just did there. I'm going to turn off live boolean, because live boolean tends to make things lag pretty hard. I'm going to delete this just so we're not taking up extra space. Pen is feeling good. Well, that's always a good thing, especially for the morning streams. I don't know if it's the morning where you are, but I need to wake up. I didn't grab any tea this morning or anything, so I'm not much of a coffee person. I tend to stay away from caffeine as much as possible, just because I don't know why. It's just, I know it's not great for you, and I don't want to make that a regular part of my schedule. Gotta wake up on my own. But we'll get there. Just need to stop staying up so late. Alright, so we have our dress, we have our sash, we have our hood. Our hood shape is something that I was messing with a lot recently, just yesterday actually. And just trying to figure out how I'm gonna make this work. So I have some subdivs back here, and I have that edge creased between the two poly loops, which gives me that really sharp edge, and I've softened that out a little bit as well. I still want this to be like a little bit bigger, and I'm trying to think that if I just inflate this, I think it might screw up the major shape there. So maybe if I just scale it up, we can make it work, and then from there kind of readjust these edges. go even larger. And I don't know what I'm gonna do for this skirt kind of pulling up into here. Trying to interpret that a little bit, trying to pull that edge. Right now this is just a flat piece of geometry, and I have double turned on so we can see the inside facing polys there. I think I want to somewhat pull an edge down and around there. So just a quick extraction maybe. And then combine this with the mesh of the dress there as well. It's a pretty complicated piece. Got some pretty crappy edges in there. I honestly think that the distance that I have there needs to be shortened quite a bit from a anatomical standpoint. And I think that's maybe what's really messing with me overall right now. let's grab some reference. Here's one by Mercurial Forge, another by Daniel Ekring. Mercurial Forge, Oliver Barraza is his real name. And I have a bunch of other stylized characters that I've been looking at for different ideas. But yeah, just trying to find something that's appropriate for the style that I'm going for, and find something that's nice and clean. It's definitely not easy, but I think this this angle here is a little too extreme. So let's fix that. Just a quick save to make sure if we crash we can go back here, and a T-pose mesh to go into some lower subdivs with our additional geometry and hopefully make some large scale changes. Trying to be really careful here with my mask and how I select this, because it's really easy to get outside of the area that you're wanting to select. It's really easy to screw up your major forms that you spent so long building up, so that's what we really want to avoid right now. Just trying to bring that chest piece in, make that distance shorter, straighten out our torso, not have it puffed out so much. And I think that already looks a lot better. And if I want to adjust even more, I might use a large move brush here. Just because I'm a little scared to push that in too much more there, because we don't want, you know, something like that to happen. So just being a little bit more selective there. So just trying to find some really clean angles there that work, and I think we're getting there. Let me try that selection again, and try to be really careful here. Large move brush. Try to push it in and exaggerate that turn a little bit more, just to see how much I can push it before it breaks. If I go perfectly, you know, trying to get closer to vertical there for the transition, I think that's a little too much. I still want a little bit of that angle in there. I think we have found kind of a good balance there. And then of course, you know, we can flip back and forth between our two changes, previous and after. Get an idea of what that's looking like. And then after that, all we have to do is a T-pose subtools. It'll go back through everything, make those changes that we just made to our individual pieces, and grab a lifesaver. Or two. Oops. I think that's going to help a lot. I think that's what the problem was. Or at least the major problem that was really bothering me there. It just made it look really unproportional and awkward from from the profile view, which is something we want to avoid from all views, but you know, it's hard sometimes. Kind of trying to turn this edge a little bit sooner. Because it looks really unnatural the way it's hugging her breast. Looks like it would just fall out the side. It's not what we want. So again, just a plane here, and I'm trying to make that follow an accurate curve there. Make it look more natural. And then we can kind of blend these together later on. You can turn off the arms, just to see how that's sliding up under there and fitting around. Make sure it's not colliding with anything too much, like our pectoral connection point right there to our humerus. But yeah, I think that looks better, for sure. And then we might want to press these breasts together as well to make it look like she's actually wearing a bra. That's something we can mess with in a little bit. It'll make it look more natural as well. I want to add some thickness to our little dress here. So yeah, there's a few ways to do that. Like I said, it's just a single plane, so if I turn off double, you can see that. I'm just going to delete our higher subdivs, and then ZModeler. One way you could do this is do an extraction. That would actually work really well, really quick. You just mask and, you know, extract. It's just going to pull that out, or in if you want, if you'd rather do an inner thickness. Let's try this. Same basic idea, just giving a little thickness with extrusion. Get some solid geometry in here. And I'm trying not to go too crazy with the thickness, just trying to actually make it a solid piece of geometry, you know? Okay, I want to separate some area for our sleeves and what that's going to look like. Actually, I might want to do my hands before I do that. Combine the fingers down there. So if you look here, got this really cool shape going on. Kind of separating the deltoid almost. Coming down, and then wrapping around the hand. I think this is like supposed to be going between the index and middle finger. Or maybe the middle and ring. I don't know. You can play with that. So going for that idea of the sleeve kind of forming around the deltoid's major shape there. This is really interesting. I'm trying to figure out how, from a realistic standpoint, how this would hold on. So it's wrapping around the arm, and I guess going up under this area, so it would be, going and attaching to this strap maybe, or something like that. A little difficult to interpret, but we can try that and see how that works out, and if that even makes sense. But yeah, just kind of trying to problem solve a little bit right now. Figure some of this stuff out, figure out what works, what we want to change, and all that good stuff. We've only figured out, our primary base mesh at this point. Really, we've just started to kind of block in some of the stuff that really actually makes this character the character. And that's when it gets fun, I think. That's when you really get to start making some good and difficult decisions. So let's start with a slice curve. And just try to create a little bit of a clean cut. And we can use move AccuCurve and like really point that up. Try some other stuff there. And then trying to like blend that shape into the hand. What I really want to try to capture right now is this first kind of transition here. ZRemesh this with keep groups. And that should give us a pretty clean result there. Not sure why there's so many edge loops around here. Try to clean that up a little bit. That's pretty fun. Uh-oh. Doesn't look like we're gonna get a clean slice there. It's unfortunate. We'll make do with what we got though. I think we lucked out a little bit better that time. It's changing the shape, but Our objective is to form it to the mesh, but also get some clean geometry. So let's try creasing those and deleting these. So all that was to try to get this nice, clean, strap-like shape that we can take and kind of use as the starting point for this shape. It's gonna carry down the rest of the arm. And if I can, I'm gonna try to delete this inner edge. And then do the same exact method that we did before to add thickness, which was an extrusion on an island. We could also do poly loop right now. This is just a really good way of creating, you know, that essentially that strip of geometry, but allowing it to flow and stick to the body just and curve and twist and do everything that the body's doing here and flow with it very well. So, you know, we could come through and create a strap and with a curved brush or something like that, but this method tends to work a little bit faster sometimes when you're trying to get it to form and wrap around multiple subtools and a few other things like we're doing here. So hopefully that gets us in a good place, and it looks like it has. I can use this to kind of blend in certain areas too. I would like to get rid of a couple of the edge loops in here, add in some warble that we don't exactly want. But now that we have this low poly geometry, it allows us to do a couple other things, like add some creasing, which is going to be really nice if we want to get a sharp point. And I'll show you exactly where we want to get a sharp point. Right down here. essentially what I'm going to do is use this and blend this geometry into our body. And we'll have a really nice, clean separation point between the deltoid and our arm. It's gonna look like that. A little weird, but it'll make sense. Alright, so we're trying to get a nice clean separation point. And we've pretty much done that now. Decently enough to essentially start making what is going to be our sleeves that kind of turn down and flow into our arm. Our arm and our hand, I should say. So that's essentially what we're looking for there. So separating those meshes was kind of the hard part, but they look as if they are still connected. So that's kind of the idea that we were going for there. So we've kind of achieved that a little bit better now. And now we can work on, I think, our hands a little bit, and eventually merging what is going to be this sleeve shape down into our hands and maybe like wrapping around between a couple of the fingers. So for our hands, honestly our hands started off really crappy, and I just did some simplifications of a bunch of forms and got them to where they are now. And they're a little oversimplified, and I don't know if I'm okay with that. Right now I don't think I am. So I at least want to play with them a little bit and try to find a better place to get them. These are just placeholders. They're not really serving much of any purpose right now, other than reminding us and letting us see maybe what our silhouette will look like a little bit better. So plan of attack for our hands. I think maybe getting some more volume in them. Getting some blending going on between our fingers and our palm as well. I think all of these things will be important here. So let's solo mode, and let's also delete one side so you know we're not getting caught up in the camera movements and everything else. A little bit easier to work with here. And let's also turn on our arm partially. What I want to do is just hide some of this. Let's do a quick save just in case we mess anything up here. Just kind of looking at my arm right now. I don't know how I feel about this concave surface. I think that needs to be a little bit more convex. I was trying to get more of this. If you look here, you can kind of see this curve here. Just trying to get that in, and I think I just pushed up a little too far on the outside surface. Trying to get this really nice S curve here for our arm. And I think we've achieved that. That's totally fine. I think we just kind of ended up morphing our shape here a little bit too much. You can see how that's concave there. So we'll play with that, and I will just have enough of this so that I can kind of see how this is blending into the hand a little bit better, and try to play with this. I inserted a hand mesh earlier to tweak with, but now I took that and I cleaned it up and simplified it, like I said, to this point now. So we'll continue playing with this. Sloz, what's going on? What do you think about this? Can't send link. No, you can't. YouTube doesn't allow you to send links. It used to. I thought it used to let you send links on the live stream. Then it would hold them for review, and then I could approve them. But it seems like it's kind of changed here recently. I thought that's how it used to work. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't know what this is, so I'm sorry I can't let you know what I think. So let's do some research. Let's do some Googling and see if we can find anything that we really like. So stylized female hand. In terms of form, I like to look on ArtStation. Pretty much everything we're going to find on here I feel like is going to be realistic to go by likes. Wow, that's not a bunch of hands, huh? Literally none. Maybe one. That's kind of cool. I don't think that's really what we're looking for, though. We can look at some stuff that other people have done, though, and get an idea of where we want to exaggerate some forms. This is a really cool study. I want to do something like this in the future. So I'm thinking right now that, so I've simplified my forms. If I go back here, you can kind of see what's going on. I really think all we need to do is get some of the more larger forms in the palm of the hand, and maybe on the back begin blending in the knuckles and exaggerating those areas as well. So we can do that and try to make that look a little bit more appropriate. And of course, the best reference you have for your hands is right in front of you. I don't know what's going on with my Ergotron arm. I think I need to tighten it up. I think it's become loose over the past month or so. Can't really push on it too hard. But yeah, we'll see here. But yes, Slaws, if you want to share your work, I assume that's what you were kind of linking there. Not positive, but just an assumption. If that's the case, then go check out the ZBrush Discord. There's a link in my bio. And post your work in there. Post it in the Share Your Work section. And I can take a look at it. You'll also get a ton of feedback from the community and all the other users there. It's a great group of people. And I guarantee that they'd be willing to, you know, maybe point you in the right direction. If you're looking for critique or something like that, you can check that out. A lot of the time I like to do this with separate meshes, just to get an idea of simplifying the form even more in that regard. And I find that to be pretty helpful, but at least for right now, we're kind of just playing around and blocking out. So let's not get jumping into the clean forms, you know, right away. Slaw says, thanks. Absolutely, yeah. Just go to the About page on my YouTube and you'll find the link there, if you're not already a member. I think the community's around 1,200 right now. 1,200 people. It's been a while since I've checked the numbers actually, but it was growing pretty steadily there for quite a while. It's pretty exciting. I think to really, I don't know. I'm thinking to like really exaggerate the tuck in around the wrist here. It's gonna split it, but maybe not. Maybe we can get away with just some pinch and some mask. So I'm just using my pinch brush with Alt, just trying to exaggerate that area a little bit more. So a little bit strong right now, but I think that's okay. I think a couple volume increases down here on the pad of the hand, of the palm. That'll help a lot, as well as, like I said, merging in those knuckles typically tends to add quite a bit of form up there. And that should do some good work as well. Do you mean Uganda Knuckles? I don't know what you're talking about. I do know what Uganda Knuckles is. Ugandan Knuckles. But I don't know why you said that there. Did I say something about the way? Maybe I should sculpt Ugandan Knuckles. Yeah, I'm aware of what Ugandan Knuckles is. I'm asking why you said, do you mean Ugandan Knuckles? What did I say that insinuated that? Or initiated that, I guess. So we got a decent curve kind of going here. Just trying to soften some of this. Try to get the tuck in, which will be a little bit more difficult. A little bit of a planar change. Hoang, what's going on? Ah, the knuckles. The actual physical anatomical knuckles. I see. Might be. I did not pick up on that. It's hard enough for me to talk and sculpt at the same time, let alone say anything remotely funny. But yes, maybe we should sculpt some Ugandan knuckles. I don't know. Is that one kind of dying out? By the time I'm done, it's gonna be too late. Plus, we're working on our art war piece. So yeah, blending our fingers up here. Start thinking about how we're gonna do this. Some of these are a little thick, I think. Or honestly, mostly all of them. So let's try a quick deformation de-inflate real quick. Just a little bit, just to see how. -1. I think even that's fine. So I'm probably gonna shrink this distance, and I'll show you. I'll need to remesh that first, just really quick. Huang says, I like your work. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Currently working on some female anatomy. I would show it to you, but then I'd have to unhide everything. And that just sounds like a lot of work. Nah, I'm just kidding. We'll do it here in a sec. Let me finish projecting this. So we have a few other people popping in and creeping. Mostly everybody's too afraid to say anything. It's fine. It's cool. It's whatever. I get it. You're shy. No big deal. So yeah, this is what we're working on right now. We got a bunch of extra junk floating around. But yeah, we'll continue working on this. I'm working on this for the art war competition going on right now, and trying to find some nice forms here in the hands right now, which can be definitely a challenge. Hello, hello. Now, with a name like Hoang, I must assume that you're not on the same time zone as me. I feel like most people that watch streams tend to tune in past, you know, midnight or 1 a.m. That seems to be the general consensus from everything that I've seen. It's got to be at least 1 a.m. before I watch a live stream. That's not true for me. That just seems to be the case for most people tuning in. You did post some screenshots in the share your work section. Very good. I will definitely check it out. Just not right this very second. Thank you. Thank you for joining the community, and I hope that you get a lot of great feedback there, and hope that you can maybe help some other people out too with what experience you have. There's a lot of people that come on there and they've never used ZBrush in their entire life. yeah, appreciate if you comment. I absolutely can. If you're looking for critique, I would suggest, I don't know if you did this or not, but just be very specific with what type of critique that you're looking for. Be very, very intentional so that people know what kind of critique you want back. So if you want someone to tear your work a new asshole and tell you everything that's wrong with it, that they can do that appropriately. Or if you want someone to just tell you what they personally like and dislike, like if you want, what do you think about this piece? That's typically what a lot of people say. I think that's kind of a very generic kind of critique. So I challenge people to kind of be more specific with what they want. Like, I don't know what the piece is, I haven't looked at it, but if it's something like a creature or a human, maybe you want critique on the anatomy or something like that. But yeah, just shout it out. Shout out what you're looking for exactly. Because a lot of people tend to be very vague, and then when you do give a critique, they try to defend a lot of their stuff. And it's like, well, tell me exactly what you want. Which, receiving critique can be tough, and I understand that. But at the same time, you gotta let people know what you're looking for, like I said. So let's blend our Ugandan knuckles, according to Slaws here. And maybe tweak the angle here. Those fingies. It's a very technical term, I use it all the time, the fingies. Some people say phalange, but that's incorrect. It's the fingy. All the fingies. So I want these end pieces. Oops. Delete hidden. Hide those. And now use this to blend in. A lot of them are really thick, which is why I want to do this. I mean, it might just be a matter of, you know, pulling up some of these. Maybe not. What I would like to do instead is actually... Whoops, what's going on? We're frozen. Been a while since this has happened. Give it a sec. I'm guessing that on the exact moment I clicked, it did something to duplicate my object on my canvas, and it's freaking out. Not using that much. So I found that, oh, maybe not. Let's try maybe opening something. Okay, so I can open a thing. I just can't interact with it. I'm trying to... We'll just save a temporary ZBrush project since ZBrush is being retarded. Mercurial in that chat too. Oliver Barraza, yes. try loading that project up. No idea why. Not the one I meant to click, but okay. Just ZBrush being ZBrush. There might have been some clipping errors. I really don't know, like, the clipping plane is so close that it would have... Plus I pressed F to frame. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what was going on there, but not a big deal. We got it worked out, so let me delete that old file. So if you have that happen, you can't close ZBrush typically, so you have to right-click the actual program and click close, and then it'll ask you to save. Sometimes it won't ask you to save though if it's really hung up, so just be aware of that. Try to maybe give it a minute to think, try to figure out what's going on. There's been other ways that I've been able to get rid of it in the past, but none of it seemed to be working. So yeah, back to our little quick hand here. So we did remesh this, so now I can use the subdiv levels to kind of step up and down and blend things and use those, which can be very helpful. But we're about to re-Dynamesh, because we love that Dynamesh. Mainly because we just want to get these knuckles on here. Or at least the basic shape of them. But before we do that, we want to create, you know, the segments between our knuckles. Just try to cut in a little bit. I really like how you make torso and hips. Thank you. Yeah, if you want, I have a base mesh available for download over on my Gumroad. If you go to my Gumroad, I have a base mesh here that is, I use it for a lot of stuff. I didn't use it for this particular character, but I did use some parts of it. I used the hands, and then I modified the hands and simplified them, and now we're going to try to maybe take some of that simplified form and exaggerate it in certain areas. But yes, if that's something that you're interested in, definitely go check it out. There's a link down in the description. Try to pinch in a little bit. So I'm trying to get these edges to turn enough to kind of get that point up top, so you can see from that angle. I'm just going to start modifying each and every one of these to try to get that nice buildup of form. Look at your own knuckles and try to figure it out. I'm going to try to do a move acu curve to try to get this diamond shape a little bit better. So just trying to adjust those a little bit before I blend them in. I want to have as much kind of that primary form that I have left in there. Looking at my own knuckles right now, trying to get an idea of how I want to represent these a little bit better. And try to create just a nice transition there. That's okay if it's a little dirty there. Essentially, I'm just looking for that main arc. I'm gonna have to move some fingers around, but that's totally okay. That's why we do the knuckles first and get an idea of where we're gonna need those to sit and how they're gonna transition. It's very important. I think these transitional places can be tough to get exactly where you want them a lot of the time. Another thing I'm going to have to worry about while I'm doing this is how big are my hands in relation to my character's head. I'm going to want my character's hand to be about as tall as my character's head. A little bit shorter, but I will play with that as well. Trying to figure out that stuff. So yeah, I want to, at this point, begin meshing all of these together to create some actual fingers. These work as great bases, but yes, we do want to merge them together and try to get to a more complete looking finger. So you can see that these are pretty much square. Your finger isn't as round as you think it might be. Like if you've, I don't know if you're new to sculpting hands or fingers, but a good way to think about it is either a block or, you know, they tend to be more flat and ovally from my experience, toward, like, as it narrows down towards the tip, but towards the back and for most of the length they're pretty blocky and kind of rounded rectangles. So that's kind of a good way to think about it. So we'll try to capture that here a little bit better. So I am going to divide these just a few times, smooth them out, and see what we get with our Dynamesh. Make sure that nothing's connecting. They were far enough apart to where I wasn't too worried. And can run in auto groups on this, and that's just going to polygroup each one individually. And then from there, I can duplicate them, remesh them, and have some nice basic fingers to work with. And I'm not even going to project any subdivs on those. So just some nice basic fingers there. Let's turn on our other junk here. Kind of see what's going on. All right. So right now, our head is measuring in at roughly 0.32 units. So I'm looking for a little bit shorter than that here. I think these are 0.28. They were 0.28. So 0.27 about. I think I had, what, 3.2 was it? Roughly 3.2. So 27, about there, about the size of the face. Pretty large though in comparison, so I'm actually pretty satisfied with the size of my hands. Much like Donald Trump, I am just satisfied with the overall size of my hands. I've got very good hands. The best hands you've ever seen. These look like fun. So the next step, of course, would be, you know, blending our knuckles and our palm and fingers, I should say. Blending all that together. Look at doing that. Try to get a little bit of the knuckle bump in there. Try and build that shape up. Try not to overdo it. currently just creating a distinct kind of separation here between these different knuckles, so you can kind of pinch in on the other side as well and try to do that. And I'm going to play with the thickness of these. Try to make them a little bit more feminine. Kind of thick right now. I might have to switch back to my glasses. Contacts have been way too dry on me lately. Kind of trying to thin these out just a little bit. Definitely closer. Forgot about this song. So merging the arm, the hands, and the fingers now. This is where it'll be a little bit more difficult because we just want to make sure that we're very careful blending a lot of this stuff together. Being very just careful with the actions that we take. Some form I want to capture in the wrist of my radius and ulna a little bit here, and trying to find an appropriate location for the ulna bump. And the radius is an interesting one. It creates this natural curve. You can kind of exaggerate a little bit. And you can see this on that female base mesh that I have on my Gumroad again. It's something I try to capture in all of these. I don't know how much I'll exaggerate it, but gotta be a little bit more careful working with your form. You're just dynameshing away, trying to build that stuff up. Try to be careful. I heard some fox shining sound effect coming from my music, and I looked at the song, and it's called The Flight Academy, aka Star Fox 64, and it's by Jackie Lombardi, and if you don't know, Falco, the blue bird from Star Fox, is named Falco Lombardi. So I called it. I got it. It's my nerd knowledge right there of the day. It's my one that I get, my super nerd moment. So I need to remesh my arm. Now that we've kind of merged all this jank together. And start blending it with some lower subdivs. Just making sure some of these major forms are in there still. Nice and clean. And then we can do this. Let's do a ZBrush, make sure keep groups are off, and we'll do 3K. And from there, just simply project back up. Make sure our geometry is doing okay. Shaken Soda, the hipster. I like it. Feels like we've barely done anything and we're still 2 hours and 20 minutes in. Dang. Dang, gang. We're making progress, though. For sure. I'm glad we figured out that big anatomical tweak that we wanted to make to the torso. That was really bothering me. I'm just gonna soften this edge. It doesn't need to be clean. I essentially just want it to be somewhere covered up there, which it is. So good to me. Just kind of trying to smooth some of this out very, very carefully, so kind of stepping up and down through my subdivs to make sure that I don't destroy any of the form that I don't want to. And right now, I'm just trying to smooth this out so that we get this kind of view here. Just a little bump up of the ulna on the end, and I think that helps to kind of ground it in reality and give it a nice surface turn there before it transitions into the hand, and maybe just kind of pull both of these in a little bit because they're starting to get it's getting a little thick around the wrist, but still keep that bump in there. So I just want to try to get this surface to be a little more concave real quick. Or I'm sorry, convex, as it is concave currently. You can see it going in. So I just want to try that real quick, or at least straighten it out, because I'm not wanting that profile to be looking like, you know, the arm's literally curving. Although I want that S curve in there for the overall silhouette. And I also want to decrease the overall swole we got going on up here. Just a little too thick. Let's try a different stylization of this elbow. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, I don't like that. Female. Oh, that's kind of a good one. Maybe just round it out. I'm looking for something with a little bend in it. Rounding it out, maybe just getting a little extra protrusion in there. This is a sculpt, but same idea. This is a little exaggerated here. I think a little too much. So yeah, let's try to round that out, I think, in general, just a little bit more. And possibly give it a little bit more volume. Pull it out a little bit more. Trying to avoid going too much towards realism though. On such a heavily stylized arm already. Try to get some notches in this. Shouldn't be quite this much volume on this far back, as this muscle travels down and around like this, and that's where all that volume goes. And there are some very thin muscles that travel straight down through here, but like I said, they're very thin, so trying to correct some of this, make it look a little bit more natural. Our arm currently is twisted though, a little bit this way, not open palm side. There's pronation and supination, but off the top of my head I can't remember which is which. I believe supination is palm up, but again, can try. Yeah, so supine or supination is palm up. Pronation is twisted. So you can see how the radius and ulna interact there, and how they're twisted, which they currently are, palm down. So that's why this muscle is twisting and coming around here this way so strongly. That's a terrible mask, but essentially that's the idea that we're going after. I just need to thin out some of this. I think modify some of this. Kind of broke my arm a little bit here. So we've merged all that together. Hide all this stuff that's in the way here, so you can see the silhouette a little bit better. See another thing I want to tweak. Actually, I see many things I want to tweak. This is why I don't like merging my geometry together too early. It's really hard to get stuff like this crease. Alright, we've done a lot of good stuff this stream. I'm gonna play with the hands a little bit longer. And then bounce on out of here because we're almost at 3 hours. I got some stuff to go do, like go to the gym. So let me tweak some fingies, as we call them. And also just kind of check out some of these larger forms that we've been working on. Turn this off. I haven't really done too much to the dress. I need to though. And that'll be one of the things that we do next. But I like a lot of what we've got going on in the body right now. Done a good job of consolidating a lot of our major issues and cleaning up a lot of these areas, especially in the arms now. So there are our basic proportions after blending in our hands. Looking at this, I might, let's see here. 1, 2, 2. You know what? Never mind. I was thinking about shortening that forearm length, but I think we're okay. Soften a few more things back here. Alright, so I think that's a pretty good place to stop for today. I think we're getting pretty up there in time. But let me save this lady out. And we'll call it 3B. Sure. Alright. So thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. Hopefully, you know, I didn't talk a lot today. But hopefully some of what I showed you guys was informative and helpful. Did a lot of stuff with the hands, so I know that can be a tough area for focusing on, so hopefully, again, some of that was helpful as well. And just some of the other general hard surface stuff and all that. But yeah, thanks for coming in and hanging out, guys. It's Monday, so we got a few days to the next episode of Art Anonymous up on the channel, so I guess be on the lookout for that. That'll be not till Thursday, but yeah. Patreon and Gumroad and all that stuff down in the description. You guys know about all that though, so I won't toot it too much. But yeah, I guess thanks for coming and hanging out, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. I'll be probably around tonight, around 8 or 9 p.m., and I'll hop on around then. So I hope to see you guys then, and if not, you know, stream twice a day, Monday through Friday. So come on in for a morning stream or a night stream and say hello, even if you can't, you know, hang out too long. But either way, I'll see you guys next time. Alright, have a great rest of your day.